What is going on, Governor? It's Chisgule here, and today, oh my goodness, we've got news about Alliance Battlegrounds. That's right, the developers released a video teaser explaining how Alliance Battlegrounds work, or at least some of it. We're going to break that down to give you tremendous details on everything we could glean from that video. If you want to completely smash an Alliance Battlegrounds, you should totally like and subscribe because we're going to cover everything you need to know on how to do that. And, we're a sponsored creator with Rise of Civilizations, so let's get this started. This video came out. It's about 3.5 minutes long. It's got some really interesting details in it. We're going to put screenshots up over here, or maybe the full screen. I don't know. There's moments from that video that I really want to highlight because there's actually so much more that we can glean from what was shared there. Now, the first thing I want to mention, and I literally have pages of notes I'm going to refer to here, is that alliances from different kingdoms are battling against each other. So I don't think you're going to battle against alliances within your kingdom, which I think is generally a good thing. I don't know. I think it'd be cool to be able to battle against alliances within your kingdom, but at the same time, it could get really weird if, like, you could attack each other within your kingdom at the same time you're supposed to be in the Alliance Battlegrounds. We'll talk more about that in a second, but hopefully, I think it's better if you cannot battle other alliances in your kingdom. Now, this is a new map that'll be available to you. The Expedition button is being replaced with, I think, a War button where you can see the Alliance Battlegrounds and the Expedition. Now, it's unclear to me exactly how long this event is. In one of the screenshots, it's less than an hour of time left on the clock. In another one of the screenshots, it's less than 6 hours, but almost 6 hours long. So I'm not exactly sure how long the Alliance Battleground will last, but my suspicion is that it's not a particularly short event. Now, something that I thought was pretty interesting is that they indicated that only about 30 governors from each alliance can participate. And that to me seems like a very small number of governors, if I'm understanding correctly. And so I guess the intention is to find the players who are going to be super active. But I kind of wonder, like, how do rewards work? Are there rewards, in fact? Um, I don't know. I'm not entirely sure. So I don't know. I'm kind of curious how this is going to work out. Um, in my perfect world, maybe you have to set up some sort of rotation. Maybe everybody in your alliance gets the rewards, and you're only picking some small number of representatives. I actually think that could be really great to make sure everybody stays rewarded and feels at least a little bit included. And there's incentive to send the players that are actually super, super active, and you're not going to miss out on stuff. Now, when you're in the battleground, your city will have a peace shield, so that's good news. You don't have to worry about your city getting attacked. You can focus on what's happening at the war. And I will say this, look, you're still going to want to gather resources. You're still going to want to do stuff with your main account, but you're going to hopefully be able to focus more fully on the Alliance battleground. Now, what's interesting is that this is a point-based game, and from my understanding of how they explained it, it's basically the equivalent of, if you've ever played Halo, a neutral bomb. In other words, you're getting points for being at and holding and capturing different objectives, and the longer you hold them, the more points you get, and there is a single objective in the middle that if you take it back to one of your points of interest that you own, you get a huge number of points as a boost. You probably also get points for kills, for attacking player cities, for defending your city. There's all kinds of stuff that might award points, and I'm very eager to see what that full breakdown looks like. Now, in a neutral bomb type game, which is really kind of what we're looking at with Ark of Osiris, uh, typically there is a balance such that you don't actually have to capture that center point and you can still win if you are strong enough in other things. So, continuing on, it's worth mentioning the different structures that they shared with us that you can actually capture. Those include altars, which I think are only worth points and are worth a lot of points. It includes shrines, which they said were a decent number of points, and those increase your heal speed and the strength of your armies. And we'll talk about heal speed in a second. Then there are these points called obelisks, which seem incredibly important to me. An obelisk is an area that gives you a small number of points when you capture it. You can then teleport your city into that area. Now, that, of course, is a really big deal, being able to teleport your city into an area. And obviously, your location is a big deal. This sounds like it's going to be a really big map. And if you have to walk a very long distance to get to where you're going, that could be a huge, huge problem. So, with that said, they show something here that I noticed that they don't talk about, which is something called a Battleground teleport. Now, hopefully, this is in the final implementation, and you get some number of Battleground teleports that you don't have to buy. Maybe you just have them. Maybe you do have to pay gems for them or resources. I don't know. I'll say this: location, location, location. It's so important to be in the right place at the right time. Those teleports, I imagine, are going to be a critical resource that you have to use very wisely, and I hope it's a limited resource. There are also structures that are called outposts that you can capture. There are lots of them, and they afford only a small amount of points. And there's something called caravans, and it's not exactly clear to me totally what caravans do, but they're apparently all over the map. They're like resource nodes. You go to them, you got to collect them for a bit, and then after you hold them for a while, you have to go back to your war camp to fully collect the value that you get from these nodes. So eager to see more about exactly what that means. Presumably, it has to do with your score. So heck, if you can't actively battle, maybe farming is a thing you can do that contributes, and I think that's great. If you're in the battleground, there's ways that you contribute that are not battling for 6+ hours straight. Now, in this game mode, troop movement is going to work like expedition. So you just sort of drag and over to the target you want to attack, and that's it. You let go, and it'll go there. So I think that's really good. Combat should be really fast, which is great. And thankfully, and I am really happy about this, the hospitals do not use resources for healing your troops, and your troops do not die. Whoo! Thank goodness. This should be a mode that's a lot of fun, and I'm excited about the fact that troops are not going to die. Now, one thing I noticed is that it looks like there's the option to speed up the healing of your troops with both gems and with speed ups. And I hope that there's like game mode specific speed ups you use here, and maybe you can't actually use gems because I don't know. In my perfect world, like there isn't a pay to win mechanism in addition to the fact that like having better commanders where you're already potentially paying money makes you kind of have a big edge. But it's possible that like troop healing will be a big deal, and having your healing related speed ups will be a very, very big deal in this game mode. We'll see. Maybe like the Battleground teleport, there are special healing speed ups you can only use in this mode. I actually think that would be super chill. Now, one of the most important things I heard in this is that city defense matters. And that to me seems like a really big deal. City defense matters. What does that mean? They said that if a war camp gets zeroed, and you will have a city that is considered to be a war camp instead of your actual city, which stays in its location in your kingdom, you're going to have this war camp that acts like your city. And if it gets zeroed, they said, you get sent back to the starting zone. Now, that seems like a huge problem for, being in a good position on the map. You want to be, I imagine, moving forward to these obelisks to capture points. So, to me, this tells me that garrison commanders are absolutely crucial. Absolutely crucial. City defense commanders are crucial. So I feel really good about my level 60 Richard I. And there's a new commander coming out. I believe her name is Constantine. And I'm really eager to see how Constantine is for city defense. With that said, the language zeroed is a little unclear to me. When they say your city's zeroed, does that mean you have 0 troops left? And if you have 0 troops left, you get ported back? Does it mean that if your wall burns, you get ported back? Does it mean that if your city is defeated once, that you're ported back? I'm not totally clear on exactly how that works. Presumably all of the same mechanics of reinforcing rallies and also reinforcing cities that are being attacked will be relevant, but we don't actually know if that's the case or not. And if rallies are a thing, in this game mode, and I'm not entirely sure they are, you got to travel really long distances here. I assume that your alliance tech will also be relevant, and the rally movement speed in your alliance technology is going to be a really, really big deal. Assembly charge 1 is one of those, and then assembly charge 2 is the other. Get those rally speeds moving really fast. Seems like it's going to be super relevant. I also hope that all the other technology in the war pain is relevant and available. It's not entirely clear to me that you own territory, so I don't know that tech like Rapid March or Territory Guardian will work in this mode. I don't know. I'm really curious to see how all of this is going to work. I thought this video was awesome. We learned a whole heck of a lot about how these battlegrounds work, and um, I am going to get you the latest information as soon as we have it about this event. If you want to best prepare, I would say that you should be really thinking about investing in a commander that is exceptional for city defense, perhaps two even, primary and a secondary. And I've got a video that gives you tremendous amount of detail on exactly how to do that. Card will be up in the top. 10 out of 10. Would recommend that you focus on your city defense. Now's the time. It's going to be good for being in your kingdom. It's going to be good, I'm sure, in KVK whenever that happens. And look, it's not entirely clear to me how the structures in in Alliance Battlegrounds work. I don't think the garrison commanders will work in those structures, but maybe the garrison talents will actually apply. Maybe the garrison skills actually apply. I am really eager to see if that's the case because assuming they are structures you can defend and you place troops there like flags or shrines and altars that we already have in the regular kingdom map, that to me seems like a really big deal. So, my friends, I hope you found this video helpful. If so, please do like and subscribe. We're going to cover this stuff really in depth as soon as it's available. And I'll have a link in the description to the video that went live today. Until next time, my friends, you have fun smashing the kingdom.